Alright, we're here on the work porch, I guess. And we've got the Westinghouse Riviera fan motor, the small 4-pole one, I guess, right? And we're cleaning some of the sawdust off it. We're also going to take it apart. I bought a little air canister. We're going to see if we can get it apart, clean it gently, and clean and oil the bearings, see what we can do with all that. So that's the plan for today. And honestly, it's kind of windy today, so who knows if we'll be able to record much good video, audio-wise. And that is a 1949 Mercury KF7. Well, I used the bottle to blow a lot of dust out of the motor. I'll show you that in a second. I haven't even disassembled it yet. Look at all the sawdust came out of there. You could build a tree house with that. And alright, shake that out and we'll move on. Right after just hitting the motor with the little air can, or gas can, whatever the hell it really is, you can see that we don't, just think that we're going to get into this deeper, but we've got green spray paint on the windings, but everything looks cool. We're flipping back over, and same thing on the front here. So we'll continue cleaning this up. You know, I think we can get down to a little more paint than just what the air gun did. And so that's, we'll continue on with the project. Alright, I just cleaned the gunk and grit off of the very end of the shaft here, where it just protrudes from the motor. Last motor I took apart, I didn't really prep the shaft enough, and I had trouble getting the front housing off. So you want to make sure you're doing that, really just so that you don't damage the bearing as you remove this thing. I actually might go over this here. Yeah, that's how you do it. Alright, there's only 2 screws, bolt dealies holding this thing together. I'm going to begin pulling them. Try and keep it so you can see what I'm doing. There's a lot of paint still on this. There's one. And here's 2. We got some. It's feeling free and pull it. Should be able to get it all away. Now, like most other front and back motors like this, the wire goes through the cage, so I got to be careful as I pull it across. And I'm going to use a little jar for the parts that were taken off of the front, because they won't fit in my little deal that I use for. So here we go, our 2 rods. I got a little sawdust on them. We'll clean them off, and we can already feel, I always feel the motor wants to come apart. Let's see if we can get the top off without any trouble. And off it goes. So here's the inside. That'll need a little more dusting, and I'm going to do that first. I hit it with the air bottle spray can, but there's still sawdust in there. It can only do the stuff that isn't like caked up. This appears, well, we got the bearing insert. I don't know if there's a wick in there or not. A little hard to see in the light. So there's the top half. And we have the rotor with a couple of washers, and we'll get those off in a second. Wow, this is pretty wild. I've never owned a fan like this, and the other Westinghouse, the Mobile Air I have, doesn't have this kind of motor in it. Let's get this really strange setup where we've got points that the motor attaches to on the 4 corners, and then if we look at the motor housing, we have these points. You see what I'm pointing at that thing there? There's one on each. I don't know if this is there's some sort of a black stuff on them. I don't know if they were glued or what, but that's pretty strange. I would imagine the other side has that too. Pretty interesting. I forgot to mark which was the top. I'm going to try and mark that now. Oh, fuck. Okay. This sucks. But we had 3 things on the front. We had a little plastic washer, as you can see, and then a little cap type washer that went over a little cork washer, which I just broke. Yay! So I have to figure out a fix for that. There you go. Here's the rear, slid right out, as you would imagine. And we have, again, we have this plastic washer and then this cap, and then the thing on the bottom, which broke on the front. I'm going to try not to break it on the back. I don't know how I'm going to avoid it, but I'm going to try. I was able to not break the rear one, so that's a start. I would imagine that if I don't have anything to put underneath the little cap type washer, I'm not going to use it at all, because it's just going to rattle. I don't know what the hell the point of that is anyway. Probably sound dampening. But the cap part is to keep it from getting all destroyed. So that's probably what that design is about. But it doesn't help 60 years later. Haha, right. Just dusted some of the dust off of the dust monster here, and the front looks pretty good. Again, this is bizarre, these points that it all attaches to. Interesting system. But obviously it lets more air in. There, before this was caked with sawdust, there's a space, a recess in between the housing and here. So it just lets more air in, I guess, right? So that's good for cooling. And you do see a lot of these still run when you do see them. Mobile airs too. I think that's why people like these motors, because they're fairly bulletproof maybe. But it doesn't look burnt at all. You've got the green spray paint from when they spray painted the whole apparatus. So it looks all right to my eye, and we're going to continue with the back side. We've not done anything with the bearings or anything yet. That'll be coming next. All right, so we're looking at the front part of the shaft with the bearing surface and everything. Here's our set screw, and the cleanest part of the shaft was under the blades. Here's the space right before the motor housing that we cleaned out. And then this is your bearing surface right here. And then afterwards there was some open space, it looks like. And then this is where the 2 washer setups were. The bearing surface doesn't look that great. As I turn it, you can see it's just got a lot of, scuffing. I think this was very dry when it, towards the end of its life. And then we go to the back, and the back is in a closed bearing. Sorry, this is going to spin on me. But the back, you could see again. This is where the 2 washer setups were, and here's the bearing itself. And yeah, that don't look too good. So we will have to, I'm going to hit it with the steel wool. I don't have any emery cloth on me. I have to buy some of that stuff. But I'm just using steel wool, and I'm just going to spin it a bunch and see if it cleans up. Alright, stick around. Alright, so really what I just like to do, and I'm sure you all are doing the same thing, either with an emery cloth or what I have, which is a fine steel wool. I just like to take it and run that around there and take whatever the heck's on there off. You can't do that much about any damage that's been done, but you can clean up if there's any gunk on there. I'll even, spin it, to get a good handle on it, and just kind of clean it up and hope for the best. I mean, we're really just trying to run this thing again. We're not doing a restoration. So we're just trying to see what it'll do. Just move in and out, change the pressure, change the spot that you're at, and that can be a good way to do it. I think emery cloth works better. You're just trying not to remove any size. You don't want to remove 0.003 of an inch or anything like that. You just want to take off what shouldn't be on there. And again, you're not really trying to get beyond any grooves or anything like that, because then you'd have to make a new bearing. That cleaned up pretty quick right away. The back when we were worried about that gunk on there. But these came out of the motor. This came out of the motor fairly easily. So it's there's no high spot. There's no anything really bad. The rear bearing's cleaning up a little better. I'm dropping stuff here. So we'll do our best, and then what I always do is I always clean off with alcohol and a paper towel so that there's no metal filings you're putting back into the motor. You do want to be careful after you do this process. And again, if you use emery cloth or sandpaper, that what I would do is I would clean all that off, and then you can leave grit on there. You can have metal particles on there, and just it's an old fan, and who cares? Number one, but number two, you also want to best practice, do the best job you can with it, and that's one of the things that you would do. That's a little better. The rear bearing looks a little better. The front bearing, okay, and it'll go back together, and we'll see what happens.